Hey there, so today I'm going to be doing a developer commentary on something custom that I built for Open RSC. And that's not something that I usually do in the quest for a more authentic RSC. And the only reason I did this is because it's content that the user will normally never see. And that's why I'm making a video about it today so that you can see it. This all started when I was looking at one of my favorite pages on the RC Wiki, Unobtainable Items. And I noticed that actually there were some items missing from the list. So I started looking at every item in the game to try and figure out the complete list of unobtainable items. Normally you think of unobtainable items as those that are unused or are just in the cache, like the life rune. But strictly speaking, it's any item in the game that you can't obtain in your inventory. So this is the template before I started looking at all the items, and this is the template after I filled in some of the items. And I think one of the most surprising items that turned out to be unobtainable was Gertrude's cat, Fluffs, because there's actually really a lot of interactions that you do with this cat. You can try and pick them up and you take damage, and you can walk underneath of them, and you can give them milk and feed them, but none of that lets you take her home in your knapsack. Once Fluffs is fed and drink her milk, and critically her kittens are found and saved, Fluffs runs home all by herself. So you can't obtain Fluffs, not even with Telegrab. She is an unobtainable item. Well, that means I can take Fluffs and make her into a moderator's companion and give her all kinds of custom behavior, and users will never really be affected by it. And Fluffs is a good item because she has this stroke option, so you can activate Fluffs at any time. In OpenRSC, I made it so that the stroke option will open this menu of all the players that are currently online, because as a moderator, that's a command I need a lot to be able to check on players and make sure that they don't need any help or are botting. So here's that stroke option again. You stroke Fluffs, and Fluffs looks kind of annoyed but tolerates your gentle caress. Eventually Fluffs meows, and you think you can hear the names of all players online. This is super helpful to me because it's just a left click option to stroke Fluffs. You can do it at any time, you can do it 10 times, and before I implemented this, I had to type online list like 5 or 6 times every time I log in just to be able to see who's online. The OpenRSC client has a button in here that you can press to show the online list, but this is the RSC Plus client, so it does not have that feature, which was an inauthentic extension for private servers. I tried to kind of follow the real behavior of Fluffs the cat, and judging by her kind of hostile behavior during the quest, I figured that she would be annoyed if the player tried to stroke them, or possibly even you would have been bitten and taken damage. So that's why Fluffs looks kind of annoyed but tolerates your gentle caress. I'm gonna assume that we've progressed in the relationship with Fluffs enough that if I'm allowed to carry her in my backpack, then probably she would at least tolerate any kind of stroking that went on. Another usage for Fluffs that I programmed in is that I decided that Fluffs could be a moderator tool to try and get people's attention. It's a little bit awkward teleporting to people and asking them, "Hey, are you botting? What about now?" And some people might have their chat off, so I wanted to make it very obvious that this was, I'm not just like checking in on them, I'm like serious and I think they might be botting, so they should respond to me. So if a moderator uses Fluffs on another player, Fluffs will actually leap out of the bag and kind of assault the other player with rainbow text, accusing them of botting, and then ask the player for proof that they are human, which I decided should be Fluffs asking what kind of food that they like. The correct answer, of course, is seasoned sardine, but as long as the player responds and can maintain a short conversation, I'll drop the suspicion and let them continue on with whatever they were doing. I think it's kind of like a RuneScape 2 style random event. The last custom behavior that I added was a check for if there's no one else online. Then when you stroke Fluffs to get the list of online players, I didn't want to have to click through that box, so instead she says, "It's just you and me, kid," and she feels kind of lonely. There's only one player online. She says, "Could we go visit Gertrude sometime?" Even though I've turned Fluffs into a moderator tool, Fluffs is still Gertrude's cat, and she belongs to her, and I felt like Fluffs might want to go see her if she was lonely. So you have the option to teleport to Gertrude, and if you use Fluffs on Gertrude, this dialogue happens. "Oh, Fluffs, it's so good to see you." Fluffs jumps out of your sack and rubs against Gertrude's legs, purring. "I trust you've been taking good care of Fluffs?" "Of course, she's very precious and useful. I can tell why you love her so much." Fluffs is very much at home, doesn't want to leave. "I can let you have her for a bit." "That would be wonderful, thank you." One word. "I understand she is a very important kitty these days, with a very important job. If you need her again, you know how to get her." 1093. And that's Fluff's item ID, because I wasn't really sure when I was writing this dialogue what I wanted to have happen. I just wanted to have Fluffs visit Gertrude. And this dialogue kind of, it had to end out this way, where Fluffs was definitely going to not want to leave Gertrude. So I ended up writing a way to like lose your moderator tool. But Gertrude understands that she is a very important kitty, and I remind the player what the item ID is of Fluffs, so that when you're convinced that Fluffs has had enough of a break, you can just type item 1093 and you will get Fluffs back. So that's all for this video. If you were surprised by the use of the RSC Plus client on the Open RSC server, yeah, that's a thing you can do now. Thanks to the growing authenticity of the Open RSC server, you can connect a client to it, made for the original game, without any private server specific modifications in the client. I have a tutorial on how to connect to other servers using RSC Plus on this channel that I'll put in the video description, or if I can figure out title cards, I'll put one of those up. Thanks for watching.